So this is how I cut up a rabbit. First I take the fat off the shoulders with a really sharp knife. Like this. And depending on how old the rabbit is, it'll depend on how much fat that's on it. The older it is, the more fat it'll have. And we save the fat for when we grind hamburger or sausage. And you want to make sure that there's no hair stuck on it before you cut it up. It's just easier to get it all off, because no one wants to bite into that. Okay, and turn it over and you pull the abdominal wall out. And these belly flaps are not really good for eating unless you make them into jerky or you grind them into hamburger. And so I'll take out any fat that's along the abdominal wall while I'm doing this. And then I take out this vein that runs up the center. And that goes in the waste bowl. Then you turn this guy around and you cut this flap off. You follow the line of the rib cage and then you just follow it down to the top of the thigh and it's off. Okay. Now turn the rabbit over. This is where yoga, bunny yoga starts. Pick these up until you hear the ligaments snap. And you pull this back until you hear the tailbone snap. And you take your knife and you cut through the meat. You follow the curve of the muscle. And then you take your big butcher knife to cut through the bone. Because if you cut through it with your other knife, it will dull it really fast. So I use a separate knife to cut through the bone. Then you go right here where the bones meet. You want to cut to one side of that. Unless your knife is super sharp, then you can cut right down the middle, but it's a little easier to just cut on the one side so that you can just go through the flesh. And it's your two hindquarters. Now you can cut this right through here where the leg meets the thigh, but then you have two really, really tiny pieces that don't really satisfy teenagers or husbands or whatnot. Okay, next thing I do is I cut off the front legs, and it's usually pulled away like that. And so I just slip my knife down there, following the line of the bone, and then turn it over and go up, and then pull this down. And you can see where the shoulder connects, and you want to come in on this side of it and go this way, and then follow around the curve of the meat and take off the shoulder. And then sometimes it doesn't pull away, like on this side. So you just come in right here next to where the neck was, and you come up like that along the bone. You want the bone on this side, and then you just cut down, and like so. You want to get through any little bits that might still be sticking. I'm going to find your shoulder curve. You can go around it like that and like that. And that's the legs off. Okay, now you do a little more bunny yoga, and you find where the rib cage ends, and you break the back right there. And then on either side of the backbone, you want to come in after the last rib and cut through. And then I kind of twist it, and then I take my bone knife and go through that bone, and then you have your good back piece. And sometimes we cut this one in half. It depends on how big the rabbit is, because an older rabbit, the bone, it'll be about this much longer, and that makes 2 pieces then. Okay, and then the last thing I do is I take the rib cage and I pull the ribs up on one side, flatten it, and then to one side of the backbone, go down, because again, it's really hard to go straight through the backbone. And then once you get through the bone, you take your other knife again and go through the meat. Like so. And like so. And you have your 2 rib cage pieces. And that is how I cut up a rabbit.